Hi guys, so today we're talking about rounding off decimals. So, first key thing is that when rounding off decimals, the key factor that we look at as to whether we change the decimal or not is the first decimal that's being eliminated. We call this the critical digit. So, for example, if rounding to 2dp, which means 2 decimal places, then the third decimal number is the critical digit. We are going to look at some proper examples of this in a second, but let's just get the writing out of the way first. So if that critical digit is 4 or lower, then the number stays as it is and we just remove all the excess decimal points. This is what we refer to as rounding down. If that critical digit is 5 or above, then we need to change the last decimal number up by 1. We call this rounding up. Let's look at a couple of examples. So, if we put, let's go into writing mode. So, there we go. So, example. So if I have 3.24165 and I am going to round that to 2 decimal places. One thing to note here, guys, 2 decimal places is what we often ask you to round to, but there might be situations where we ask you to round to a different number of decimal places. So be aware, if we want to round to say 1 decimal place, all we have to do is change that to a 1 to represent 1 decimal place. So for this question, we are rounding to 2 decimal places. So our cut is essentially going to be here. All right, that means that the first number to be eliminated, the 1, is our critical digit. I'm going to abbreviate that to CD. All right, so since our critical digit, or CD, is 1, we don't round up. All right, we essentially round down, but the thing to remember about rounding down is that we don't actually change the number. We don't move the number down. We just get rid of all the decimal places, except for the 2 that we want, of course. So this is our answer to 2dp. Okay? And we'll do another example, but I'll clear this so that we can see it all. So, example 2. Example 2. If we have 6.45694, and this one we're going to round to 3dp. Okay, so let's look at 3dp, where we're going to have 3 numbers after the decimal point. So our line's going to be here. All this is going to be cut off. These 3 are going to stay. So in this case, our 9 is our critical digit. So for this one, notice guys, I'm writing this in blue because in an exam you don't have to copy this down every time. So since our critical digit is 9, we round up. So when we round up, this last number is going to go up by 1. So here we 6, 4, 5, and the 6 is going to change to a 7. So we have rounded this off to 3dp. I am going to show you guys one more example, and basically that is what happens if the last number is a 9. So let's look at example 3. So let's do 3.296 4, and we're going to round this to 2dp. So our line goes after our second decimal place. Our critical digit here is a 6. Now since critical digit is 6, we round up. So the thing to note here before I start writing the number is that this number here is a 9. So when it goes up, it essentially becomes 10. So what I'm going to have to do is make this into a 3, and this will become 0. Notice that's in red, guys. You don't have to copy that down, because we're going to write here equals 3.30 in brackets 2dp. The thing to note here is that I am still going to write that 0 because of the fact that I've said 2dp, so I want the 2 decimal places. This makes it clear that the second decimal place was a 0. All right.